All right, good morning, everybody. Sorry we got a little bit of a late start. We had some technical difficulties, but we are here ready to rock and roll, and you are in for a treat today. So we're going to be talking about the future of medicine and getting you guys really excited for this weekend's event. So for those of you on the webinar today, we will be giving away a brand new car.
I can't wait, Kate. Is it your model? Is it your Model 3?
Yeah, we got a Tesla for everyone that's on the webinar and attentive. So no, I'm kidding. Sorry to get anybody's hopes up, but I just wanted to see what kind of rise I could get out of the comment box. So
I like
so
it.
anyway, we're this weekend for Saturday and Sunday in LA, July 15th and 16th. We got session 2. Thinking like Elon Musk to create an incredible healthcare for the future. So it's going to be an amazing weekend event. Really excited to have everybody out there. So get ready to rock that. Some other events upcoming for the future. We got our stem cell training. We just confirmed that date. We haven't sent any details out yet or anything, but October 13th in Salt Lake. That's going to be a Friday. And then we'll have our Saturday, Sunday event, session 3, following that. So that'll be a amazing weekend to come to. So you guys got to make sure you're there. And then December 9th and 10th is the session 4. That's in LA. So get those on the calendar. You can click through the emails that I just sent, and you can register for the upcoming Healthcare Entrepreneur events. Haven't got the details out on the stem cell event. We just recently confirmed that. So yeah, we got some amazing stuff, but overall we want to get you excited for this weekend and really give you some good glimpse into the future of medicine. So I'm going to turn it over to Regan.
Hey guys. So here's some things that I see is coming up. You know, a lot of us, first thing we need to do is go through your clinic with a fine-tooth comb, see where any issues are, and then figure out how you can expand this and create an award-winning clinic. So if you were to look at your clinic and say, man, here's all the cool things about it, what would they be? You know, do you have a cool front desk? You've got great decorations. Is your clinic aesthetically pleasing? Is it clean? Is it open enough? I mean, you don't have to create the Taj Mahal, but what you do want to do is make sure that it's a space that reflects you and your business and your enterprise, because I think a lot of us, we don't realize that, man, we are in this industry that's very competitive. It changes every year. Patients, you know, they're getting hit up all the time by pharmaceutical commercials, the doctor's offices, and so if you have a place that feels kind of funky to them, then they will not want to come back. They won't even want to try your services out. So one of the biggest things that I see as a pitfall of ours is we're not creating a clinic that is a place where people can feel safe, comfortable, and where they can really thrive in their healing process. Just like your house or your environment, you know, it impacts you the same as with your clinic. So one thing we're going to be going through this weekend, especially on Sunday, is your organizational structure. And so a lot of you who are on the webinar today, I've already given you your org board, so I've asked you to kind of fill this out and look who controls or who runs each one of these divisions in your organization. There's you, the healthcare entrepreneur. There's the chief results officer. That's somebody who is constantly monitoring and measuring the stats. You've got your chief money expander, the office manager over the divisions 2, 3, and 4, and then you've got your chief case manager, chief medical manager over 5, 6, and 7. And for a lot of you, you know, if you're in a clinic with, you know, just a few people, then it's going to be one person covering, you know, wearing multiple hats, which is just fine. So, but we're going to be going through this how to create an organizational structure, because the medicine of the future won't go anywhere without entrepreneurs. I mean, I'm going to be talking about some technology today in this webinar, and this technology is life-changing. I mean, one thing that I'm not going to address, but I will in the at the event in LA is about the pawn stimulator, helping people with MS walk again. People have had strokes. That's a major game changer, but it's still not available. It's going through some FDA trials, and as soon as the FDA says it's safe, then it will be approved. But right now, it looks super promising. The other thing that we'll talk about are like nanosensors and breath tests for detecting cancer. And what you'll find is that on all this technology, if there's not an entrepreneur behind it, it's not going anywhere. There's no movement. There's nothing that can happen. So you are the entrepreneurs that help push this into the medical scene. So let's talk about some of the things. I mean, you look at the world's first computer, and you see this crazy picture of it here. Whoops. And you can see how far we've come. I mean, you know, the first electrocardiograph. I mean, you can see he's got his foot and his hands in water. He's running electrical currents through his body, and then he's watching his heart rhythm. Now I have a patient who she's constantly measuring her heart waves because she's got atrial fibrillations, and what we did for her AFib is we ran stem cells through her body intravenously, and with her phone and the sensor that she's got on her chest, she brings her information, her data to her cardiologist, and she's running an EKG on herself. I mean, you go back 50 years and that would be impossible. You look at the world's first computer, I mean, it took up almost a 10,000 square foot space. Now, how big is our computer? It's the size of a phone. It's wild how far we've come in just a short amount of time. And so you hear about things from Ray Kurzweil, for example, like about the singular concept or Moore's law, where things are, you know, the computational power is doubling, you know, every single year, and it's getting half as expensive. So we're getting all this capability of, you know, having data and information at our fingertips, and it's becoming less and less expensive. I mean, right now, you know, we've got more information in our pocket with our cell phones, access to more information than Bill Clinton had when he was president, and that was not that long ago. So you know, if you look at where we're going, health is one of those industries. I think health and education are, you know, some of those industries that are way behind. But let's talk about some of the future possibilities. Ingestible sensors. So these are kind of interesting because a lot of these sensors are actually designed for patients to stay on their medication. So here's a quote from Peter Diamandis. It's a little concerning to me, but also fascinating. He says these pencil tip-sized sensors are combined with a drug that can tell your doctor if you forgot to take your meds. One drug sensor combination under review by the FDA called Proteus combines a sensor with Abilify, an antipsychotic drug, to tell physicians or caregivers whether patients have gone off their medication. Yikes, that's from me. So bioethicists are worried, however, that the data which is transmitted wirelessly via a naval attachment could be intercepted, which violates a patient's right to privacy, or used by insurers who could first charge a discounted rate but then copay if medication is missed. Others fear the pill could be used by the courts to punish non-complying patients. So yeah, that's the shadow side of this whole thing, but very interesting because I look at that technology and I say, well, man, if they're going to build it for medication-based applications, then why couldn't we just take that same technology and use it for nutrition? Or what if we used it for something like our herbs or our supplements? That would be really amazing, especially if these sensors, usually what they found is they're made of like magnesium and copper, so non-toxic devices to the body. But I mean, think about the application for that. You have a patient, you're like, oh, you've been taking your herbs, let's look at how frequently you're taking those, and then you can just get some real data up front. I see that as something super exciting. I don't know about you guys, but Let's move on to some other things in the future. Chewable wearables. So scientists have recently developed a sensor made from gum that has been chewed for 30 minutes, washed with ethanol and dried. Next, they added carbon nanotubes and found the material reacted to motion and humidity. So what's the purpose of this? These wearable technology use sensors but made of metal, and they stop sensing if they're twisted. Sensors made of plastic can prevent this, but they're less sensitive. So these nanosensors, you can see I have implant 2 nanosensors and call me in the morning. This is the future where we will just have little tiny sensors. Either you chew on them, and then these little nanosensors go into your bloodstream, and they can give you an update on everything that's going on in real time. I see that as being, really cool. I mean, imagine if your patient comes in with their smartphone, they chew on a nanosensor, you send it to them before their visit, or part of our pre-education process is, oh, by the way, the cost of our first visit is $100 or whatever you want to charge for your initial consultation, and we're also going to have you chew on a nanosensor, and here's and everyone will have a nanosensor, and then you're going to upload it to this account, and then we can have all your data ready. But yeah, imagine how much easier that would be in our report of findings process. So Cade, you're going to be the first one that gets a couple nanosensors implanted. You ready for that?
Can't wait. I'm excited.
Good. Well,
you can tell me everything that's wrong with me.
Yep.
Because there's lots.
Yes, they're like the prefrontal cortex is not formed. We've got some issues in the hippocampus. But yeah, you think about the use of smartphones right now. I mean, how many of you have patients who they come in and they just bring their smartphone? Do you guys have that happen quite often, Cade, in St. George, where people just show you their lab results on their phone?
It'll happen occasionally. We're in a little older demographic down here.
Okay, it's
but
certainly becoming the norm in Salt Lake. Yeah, and that, I think in the future, I mean, it'll be weird to have someone bring in paper. Even now that we're on the EMR, it's still weird when our patients print out their paperwork and bring it in. I'm like, no, let's just do it on the computer. There's no need. But yeah, medicine of the future, we've got to start embracing this technology, or I see we're getting left behind. Cade, what would you say technology-wise that we use in the clinic? What would you say is the best technology that we have to date? I mean, as far as all our labs go, maybe our ultrasound. I mean, what would you say is have you seen to be the most beneficial?
As far as diagnostic tools, or
Sure,
as far as
yeah.
just everything? I think I'm trying to think what would be. I think the stool testing, it seems to keep getting better and better every day. Like every month they'll have a new marker or something additional that you can see and understand. So that's been really cool and awesome for getting better patient results. Stem cells, I think, I don't know if that's kind of going off the topic of diagnostics, but the way they're extracting the umbilical cord tissue and amniotic tissue, and they got newborn baby PRP in some of those vials. Where they'll strip out the red blood cells. I think that's really intriguing and amazing as well.
Yeah, totally. No, I think, yeah, I think and we're just going to keep growing on it. I mean, here's a nanosensor. Nanosensors can track endothelial cells for predicting heart attacks, and you have endothelial cells. So I don't know if you guys realize this, but the stem cell density is the highest right around the vessels. So all those endothelial cells around your blood vessels are where your body's own stem cells are. And so with the nanosensor, you can actually see if someone's actually having cellular death. And you can see if the stem cells aren't turning over fast enough to regrow that tissue that's lost oxygen. And so you can predict a heart attack much sooner than before it ever shows up. Here's a nanosensor that measures your breath, and it shows what type of particles could be carcinogenic, what types of particles could be cancer tumors. So very interesting. So yeah, I see medicine of the future just like my patient who is a live science study. And Kay, do you think that would be interesting? Should I bring her EKGs? Do you think people would like to see that as far as how our patients are using their own technology to basically provide feedback for the specialist, her cardiologist? Should I bring
Totally.
her results?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
She doesn't mind at all. She wants everybody to know about it because she's doing so much better. I mean, she was right to the point where they were going to have to implant a pacemaker, and she was like, no way, I don't want a pacemaker. And when I told her, I said, hey, I actually, the guy who founded my school, Earl Bakken, he invented the pacemaker, and he doesn't want people to have them either, surprisingly. So she was really relieved to hear that. And yeah, it's been phenomenal because she can just simply use her smartphone and know exactly how her heart rhythms are doing. Here's another one we're going to do for you, Kate. It's a cyborg chip. And you know, once again, the cyborg chip, it's injected using minimally invasive technology. There are people walking around with this. It's intra and extracellular nanosensors. They reside under the skin. It's portable. There's an imaging device that's used to interrogate sensor as needed. So you just, you know, you have to get the chips, and then you have a device that can actually read what's going on in those chips. So you get all these updated information and data so you can track patterns in the body. And so pretty soon, you know how right now, Cade, you know, we'll do a blood test and it's like a one deal. You know, it's like what did your blood show in that moment, which the blood is fairly stable, but it does change significantly as you've seen. But now with the cyborg chip,
Yeah.
it will be like, let's look at the pattern over the last month. I mean, that'd be pretty cool. Can you see how we could use it clinically?
Oh yeah, that would be awesome because you could see like if there's different spikes in different markers. See, okay, well, was there a stressful event that day? You can really start correlating what happens to your body in every single situation, for good or for bad.
I think the interesting thing too is, you know, we give our patients all these vials and we're like, hey, fill it up with saliva. And they're complaining because they're like, it was so hard to fill it up.
I was
And
sniffing lemon like crazy.
yeah, exactly. And now this, you know, this just solves that problem. We're like, okay, let's look at cortisol, you know, every 15 minutes. You know, you could literally
Yeah,
just
that's
map it
awesome.
out. Yeah, very cool. Um, so technically, thousands of people are carrying chip implants for all sorts of reasons, from opening doors with a swipe of a hand to creating a tattoo from inside the skin. Our cyborgs, researchers at Columbia Engineering, however, recently isolated a chemical energy producing biological process to power a solid state integrated circuit. This means at the chip level, at least, it is possible to create part human, part technology process, if not creature. So some people that freaks you out, that's fine, I get it. But you know, I look at this and I say, man, if we are moving in the direction, you know, I showed you this very first computer that was not that long ago. I believe this was, you know, 50 years ago. We need to get the exact date. Now, where are we? And you know, it's like, okay, so everything's getting smaller, it's getting faster, we're getting better data. How can we use this with our patients? Because I see doctors now, my patient who's got the atrial fibrillation, she basically tells her cardiologist what she's going to do, what she is willing to do and what she's not willing to do. Medications are some of those things that she's just not willing to do. So I'm really excited because we're actually seeing with stem cells, and with the use of her smartphone, because I wanted her to track it. And so she actually found some very cheap technology, and her cardiologist is like really stoked about it. So another area of technology that I see are nootropics. Cade, what is a nootropic? How would you explain it to people?
So a nootropic is, um, I want to say like brain enhancement. It can either be natural or chemically derived um, enhancement of the brain. It helps fire better, increase cognitive abilities, increase memory capacity, things like that. And it's the very unique and I think really intriguing thing about them is they don't have long-term or any damage on the brain. There's from my understanding, there's really no negative effects as far as breaking things down. Whereas if you're on, you know, I guess you'd say
Adderall, Ritalin.
Adderall, Ritalin, some of those they have some pretty nasty side effects.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And so I see nootropics as now we're branching into like adaptogenic herbs. We're looking at like lion's mane is considered a nootropic. You look at reishi mushroom, chaga. You look at all these foods, and pretty soon our brains. And if you use substances like aniracetam, these substances actually are growing smarter brains, and our neuroconnectivity is actually much greater, so you can retain information better. And this is not done at the expense, like you said, Kate. It's not going to lead to long-term harm. It's actually going to lead to a healthier brain, because I see us like, sure, maybe we can force people to live 5-6 years when they should be dead, essentially, like their brains can pretty much be turned off. But I see nootropics as people having a more positive experience in life. And then I know this sounds a little sci-fi, but the smarter that we can, the more we increase our brains and neuronal connectivity without overstimulating them, using things like nootropics, then the next generation just becomes smarter and smarter, and that's the whole goal. Even certain nootropics help with your balance, your coordination. They help open up the hippocampus. They help diminish any type of amyloid plaque buildup, any degeneration. So yeah, I think nootropics are another medicine of the future. And even though they were first discovered by Dr. Guardier in 1974, he was working with the Russian Olympic team. They're still, we're just still scratching the surface on what nootropics can do. Herbal remedies. I know this is strange that you guys would say, oh, man, medicine of the future, herbal remedies. I think we're just starting to learn the properties in some of these herbs that are so powerful, and they can be life-changing when used properly. But I see herbal remedies using technology. Now you've got what's that app that Wade was talking about at the stem cell event, Cade, where he can basically look up any herb and see if there's a contraindication with the medication. Do you remember what that was?
It's what's it called? I'm pulling it up right now. Hippocrates.
Hippocrates, yeah, Hippocrates. So yeah, it's super easy now, and pretty soon I think doctors will start saying, man, why don't we try some herbs first? And the more studies, the more data that we have, the less dependence on pharmaceuticals. And then especially if you have like what Prometheus is doing with their scanner, their nanosensor, we'll be able to actually get updates on how herbs are, what they're doing in a person's body, if a person's taking them, if they're not taking them, how they're responding. Stem cells, you mentioned this, kid. Stem cells, herbal remedies go right along with increasing stem cells. We've learned about diet and how diet influences stem cells. We're looking at so many properties that really can just transform people's lives. And I know I talked about this at our stem cell event, and some of you were there, but I did mention, I said, look, in if you look at the research and the amount of studies that are being published, and also the studies that are being funded by the National Institutes of Health, 2016 was the breaking point. That's where suddenly we went from the science of stem cells that was kind of obscure and nebulous, and not a lot of people were doing it, and then it just shot up. And in 2016, the amount of research data that was being released was like 20 times more than all the years before it. And 2017 is trending to do exactly the same. It's going to probably double what was released in 2016, because now we're learning how to harvest stem cells safer. We're learning there's different sources. We're learning that it's not the stem cells themselves. In a lot of cases, it's the progenitor cells. The stem cells are, they're releasing these tropic factors that stimulate the progenitor cells to start building new tissue structures, and they're essentially like waking up your body's kind of dormant stem cell system. So yeah, it is the umbilical cord stem cells, but man, there's some other factors in there that we're finding that's really exciting. Like Dr. Spencer, he talked about the TIM2 protein, and the TIM2 protein is naturally occurring in the placenta, amniotic tissue, and in the umbilical cord tissue, and the TIM2 protein is necessary for regrowing organs. I mean, it's a very interesting protein that they've been able to isolate primarily in the liver. So patients who have severe cirrhosis, if the TIM2 proteins get incredibly low, then that person needs a liver transplant. But what they're finding is if you can actually repopulate the TIM2 proteins, that vascular genesis that happens from that will create brand new liver structures. So a lot of interesting things coming out there. A bill was passed, and thank you for those of you in Texas. But this Governor Abbott, I'm not sure what, I believe he had either Parkinson's or muscular dystrophy. Do you know exactly, Cade, what his condition was? Or is?
I do not know.
Okay. No worries, but anyway, he is a governor that just basically said, hey, enough of this. We need to get people help who have issues. So he said, it's easy to fall into the trap of viewing legislation as just words on a piece of paper, said Senator Bettencourt. But for the many people who are ill with multiple sclerosis and other diseases that stem cell therapy has the hope of solving in our lifetime, I look at this bill, I look at the possibility of what can happen in the 21st century with Texas taking the lead on adult stem cell treatments, and this bill has the potential to extend lives and make a difference for these patients. Love that. Everyone has a zest for life. This adult stem cell treatment possibly gets government out of the way to let these new therapies flourish and give patients hope for a future good quality of life. Thanks to Chair Parker, Representative Drew Springer, and the Senate Committee on Health and Human Services, and the entire Texas House and Texas Senate for unanimously deciding to let adult stem cell therapies go to work in Texas. So this is awesome. The Texas Medical Board, pending the outcome of the July 18th special legislative session, will be responsible for writing the rules about adult stem cell treatments in Texas. The legislation takes effect September 1st, 2017. So look at that. And this is going to be state by state. You're going to see this more and more. So amazing. You look at the research in the UK, it's big, going on big there. Liver disorders, pretty huge. Probably the biggest one, as you can see here, are like the other diseases. They're looking at multiple things. They're doing a ton on autoimmune disease, cardiovascular, respiratory. I mean, these are government-funded studies, so it's not like you can just sign up and boom, you get a grant. But very exciting. You look at what we found with building cartilage, because the future of medicine is how can we prevent aging? How can we help you live to be 250? Well, first thing you have to look at is the very first system in your body to degenerate is your joints. Second system to start degenerating is your liver. The third are the eyes. The fourth is the heart. The fifth is the brain. So I think, and we've seen this a lot in our stem cell treatments, is we'll treat somebody's knees, and then they'll say, you know what, I had a heart attack. Is there anything you can do for my heart? And it's like, absolutely. Let's run an intravenous, and that will help your liver as well. So I mean, I see this as being so fascinating because now we're using cartilage engineering. We can use mesenchymal stem cells, and they can promote chondrocytes to the area. Um, Super interesting with stem cells. Sorry about that. Help people avoid knee replacements. Here's some proliferation rates that the new studies have been showing from the umbilical cord tissue. So yeah, regrowing cartilage, I see this as, like you said, Cade, one of the biggest futures of medicine. So let's talk a little bit about software, because one thing Cade is really good at is setting up these webinars, getting our website fine-tuned, doing lead funnels. And he's just recently, well, over the last couple of years, he's been working on a software program, and we've just launched it. And Cade, I've been using it for let's see, a week, 2 weeks. I used it the last week in June, and I've used it all of July, and I'm 100% compliant on this computer program. But do you want to talk a little bit about what you've done with the Go Wellness practice platform?
Yeah, and it's impressive to hear that Reagan is 100% compliant with any computer system, because for those of you that work closely with them, that's a tough feat to master. But yeah, so I've been working with kind of this software development and really integrating protocols and procedures, and obviously you have all your procedure notes and things similar to other softwares, but this software actually has the ability to schedule for events, schedule for classes. It also you can input sequenced protocols that you can check off with as you complete different protocols and tasks. It's got herb banks. You can create different banks for your patients. So if you have a certain amount of herbs that you're going to have for them, there's an accounting system that every time they check out, you distribute herbs. Those herbs are taken out of their herb bank, and so there's really nice accounting and seamless process there. So overall, really excited to have this finally roll out to our clinics. And yeah, I think we're working on potentially having a platform to have that available for some of our clients as well, if that's something that people are interested in. But yeah, for right now, yeah, I've just been fine-tuning that and trying to make practitioners' lives and administrative staff lives much easier and simpler, so we don't have to take around a big fat paper chart, and everything's in the system, and everything's at our fingertips that we need to document what's going on with the patient's case, as well as understand and know what all their things are. And then also on the marketing side, it's got some really cool features. It's got an app. It's got a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah, I look at it, Cade, from an administrative perspective, like I can manage tasks. Yesterday I was looking at, like follow-ups for the case managers, and I was like, why is that a low priority? You know how you can prioritize a task? And so I'm going through there and I'm going, no, this is high, this is high, this is high. Like, get in there and get that job done fast. It's a follow-up with somebody who needs to be closed, It's like, it's really cool, because then you get a better management system out of it.
Totally.
And then I see, from lead tracking source, from a financial source, everybody can see the stats. You've built it right in there. And then the cool part is, from a clinician perspective, I didn't like the EMRs because there's so many buttons to push. And like, we're using Dr. Chrono for years, and I just never really jived with it. And this one's very simple, just a few buttons. It takes me 30 seconds to do my chart notes. Done, and all the labs are there, so you can easily scroll through with a patient right there. Yeah, it's just it's been really fun, really exciting about the growth that we can have now that the office systems are organized. I kind of jokingly say, like, there's going to be some people who are going to need to produce even more because now it's all automated, all the tracking systems that we've gotten there, so people won't be spending their time, the 10 hours a week just gathering stats. So it's pretty damn cool.
Yeah.
When do you see that being able? When can we roll that out to our Go Wellness clients? I mean, how far out do you think you are on that?
I don't know. I need to check with a couple folks, but yeah, I think that's something that we could be rolling out next month.
Cool. Okay. So yeah, everybody, I mean, I know we're talking technology today. We got into some interesting therapy. Some of you may not think, oh, stem cells is not technology, but absolutely is. Herbs are not technology. Absolutely is. Acupuncture is one of the technologies. The more we learn about it, then we have the technology behind it. So remember, it takes an entrepreneur to take a piece of technology and put it into the marketplace. You can have the best technology on the planet, and it won't do anything until you have an entrepreneur behind it. So, my hat's off to all of you entrepreneurs who've been on this training program, and especially join us for the webinar today. We apologize about the technical difficulties early on, but man, and then you look at that and you say, man, well, we need technology to actually run our business. And so that's where I think it's really cool what Cade's been working with a couple software designers and engineers, getting this really cool platform created. So, and it's not expensive. It streamlines your business. I think that's going to be another game changer. So we look forward to seeing you guys out in LA. It's coming up very soon. I don't think I have any slides on that one particularly, but get out and join us. It's the Elon Musk transforming healthcare in America by thinking like Elon Musk, creating an incredible future for healthcare is actually what it is. And we are going to be going through creating your organization. Session 1, the Kanye West, we got you guys. We gave you your 7 projects to work on, getting your wellness programs written up, getting everything streamlined in your office. Session 2 is going to be building an organizational structure so that you can facilitate the use of technology in your practice with your functional medicine, with everything you're doing. So we're also going to be focused pretty intensely on lingering infections. So that can be Lyme's, Epstein-Barr, cytomegalomy, herpes. It's incredible what these little critters can do to the environment of our systems, and so isolating those and identifying those is part of how you can help overcome that person's major health issues. So we'll be covering that. So hope to see you guys all out there. Kate, any last words?
No, just excited to see everybody this weekend, and yes, Marty, to answer your question, full day on Saturday, and yeah, we'll be done about noon, 12 to 12:30 on Sunday. So can't wait to see y'all. Make sure you got the updated location. It's at the Renaissance Hotel at LAX.
Cool.
Yeah, we had to switch that up. I've been sending emails, so everyone should know, but just want to make sure. All right, we'll see you guys this weekend.
Take care, everybody. See you soon.